is now how you open the show right away, banging all the way around. But anyways, that is the new theme song for the Silver Screen Savants for the action stuff. I really found it really cool, awesome, unique, fresh. Also, we are live talking about the Silver Screen Savants, episode 22, Thunderball from 1965. This is Sean Connery's fourth outing as Agent 007, or 007 as you could refer to him as. And funny enough, thanks, Neko. This movie started this is one of the only, I believe, rare movies where he does not introduce himself as, my name is Bond, James Bond, etc. You hear it in the movie, but it's like, his introduction to who he is. And I like that this is unique, it's fresh, it's unique, it's different. When did you get to see this movie for the first time, Anubis?
I don't even know, to be honest. The thing is, by the time, I was definitely probably young enough to see Live and Let Die in the drive-in, but by the time, I really didn't know much about Bond other than that. That was a fun film and all that, but I was probably 5 or 6 when that came out. So by the time the 80s rolled around, and the news was reporting when For Your Eyes Only came out, that kind of got my interest back into okay, so Bond is actually something more than just the one film. And so from there, I kind of just followed Roger Moore and then, of course, Dalton. But I went back and watched a lot of the Sean Connery stuff, and probably somewhere in the mid 80s is when I actually saw Thunderball and some of these other films like Dr. No and whatever. So I can't really pinpoint exactly when I saw it, but certainly I do remember actually watching it when I was getting into Bond quite a bit, and it became one of my favorite franchises at that point overall. So,
I wanted to get my facts right on what I was just saying about.
You're good.
I want to back it up just in case,
What's up, Kevin?
Oh,
there's Jedi too. We got a few people in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Connery is third for me. Sorry, guys. Neko agrees with you guys. She thinks he's number one, though.
I love how this movie is set in a beautiful place. When I see Dr. No, I get reminded of this movie, that beautiful islandy kind of tropical scenery that they're on. Because I don't know if you remember Dr. No, they go to an island and they're on the scenery. I'm reading Kevin's comment about what he just said. No, I'm not going to be like a certain person.
Oh no, this is fine. This is playful banter here. Even though Kevin's wrong.
I know.
How it is. He's not here to defend his case, so that makes it easy for me.
No, I know. We have a beautiful hottie in a Bond girl in
Claudine Auger, Domino.
To my knowledge, this would be the third actually foreigner Bond girl, whatever.
Yeah, they say that her voice was dubbed. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah, so the same. Funny enough, here's a little trivia for you: the same voice actor that dubbed Domino is the same voice actress that dubbed Ursula Andress in Dr. No. Same voice actor.
Simmer down there, Ron Weasley.
So here's another fact about this movie that this movie has like three people were dubbed in this movie. So Domino is dubbed in the movie.
Adolfo Seeley was dubbed.
Yes.
And so was Molly
Robert
Peters.
Robert Reedy voiced Largo. Paula Kaplan. Patricia Fearing. So we'll get into the plot, and I'll explain who she is. But I think the villains for this movie are kind of cool. That said, the movie begins. So the gun I'm
trying to think of too. Is this the first time we're introduced to Spectre or no?
Yes, it should be.
Okay.
Because excuse me, Neko, you're forgetting one Dalton in that comment.
Well, no, she only did 3. I mean, you can go more, but that's her top 3.
Ooh, Jedi. Okay, I didn't know. I'm sorry, my bad.
Dude, Jedi, come on, dude. Brosnan over fucking Dalton? No.
Sorry for me.
You disappoint me, sexual chocolate.
Brosnan is
Brosnan's not as good.
Sorry, Craig is last on my list.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay,
you guys are killing me. Killing me, Smalls. Killing me.
Show a picture of him in his little shorts. Then
it is a tough decision who is number one for me, because I really like Connery. I really like Moore. I really like Dalton. Lazenby is the second to last, unfortunately.
But you like that movie the best, though, that he's in, right? Yeah.
But I would say it would probably be Dalton, Connery.
You put Moore last. You are fucking gone from my life.
Okay.
You shitty motherfucker. You cheeky bastard, as they say. Oh my God.
But Thunderball begins, the gun barrel plays, and funny enough, with this movie, this is the first movie with Connery doing the gun barrel sequence. I don't know if you're aware about that, but From Russia with Love and Goldfinger, it was played by stuntman Bob Simmons. Bob Simmons is in the opening of this movie, believe it or not. The Bond gun barrel plays. The movie begins. The pre-title. We see a casket with the initials JB on the casket. Bond and a French agent are at the funeral of Colonel Jacques Beauvoir. A woman is also at the casket. The woman walks outside, gets into a car. Bond and the French agent also go outside. The woman gets out of the car and an estate, goes upstairs into a room, opens the door, is about to put her coat down when she sees 007 in a red chair already in the room. It's like, how the heck did he get there? It's like science, magic, movie magic. There we go. It's different. Bond punched as a woman. In reality, it's Colonel Beauvoir in disguise. Special effects, I like it. It's fun, unique with the mask, the makeup, how you can... And we'll get into that because there's another character I think that's interesting with this special effect. Oh, wow. Now that you say that, I didn't know that about the first widescreen Bond film being Thunderball. Bond punches a woman. Bond gets into a fight between Colonel Beauvoir and himself. Bond strangles him to end the fight between Colonel Bouvois and himself with a fire poker. And I thought that was a pretty cool fight. There's a couple of interesting scenes where you there's a clock or something that falls on Bouvois. There's a couple of punch scenes are happening. Bond throws flowers on the dead body and escapes the estate in one of the coolest gadgets shown in the 007 franchise, a jetpack. I believe, according to the wiki, though, it is called a rocket barrel pack or something like that. I'm looking it up I just want to make sure I state what it's called, actually. It is called a Bell rocket belt. Okay. This is what I was talking about off before this stream.
Yeah. He said that earlier.
Uh-huh.
Have a good night, Kevin. Take care, brother.
See you, Kevin. See you tomorrow. He has a goon shooting at him as he escapes the estate. Bond starts the Aston Martin DB5 from Goldfinger with the French agent from before in tow, deploys a rear bulletproof shield, and blasts water from rear water cannons at the henchmen. The water cannons soak the henchmen, soak the screen, and the theme song for the movie starts playing. I personally thought this is a really interesting theme song. It's played by a well-known singer at the time of Tom Jones. There's a lot of history. I've heard this theme done in a redux, and it still has that same taste.
One thing I did notice about this film, when we see the Austin Power films, they borrow a lot from this. A lot of stuff they borrow from this film, which I thought was funny.
Here's a question. Who do you think did it better, though? Thunderball or this?
Or what? Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Austin Powers is funnier. I mean, but that's it's two different things. Like I love this film, but Austin Powers is just like a parody off of all the James Bond stuff. So, but it is funny when you kind of watch what they're doing and parodying off of this, because like we have the moment where Largo kills one of his henchmen, number 2 or where the fuck it was, or number 9 or whatever he was, and then he fries him, and it's like I remembered when they in Austin Powers when they dropped Will Ferrell's character down into the incinerator, and he's still talking. He's like, "I'm not quite dead yet, but I'm burning."
That's it. Okay, and then after the theme song and the credits for the film are over, a man in a white car pulls up. A man with an eye patch gets out of the car, goes into a building, goes into another door. He pulls out a cigarette case remote, which is what the door. Oh, that's an interesting comment you said, Brony, about Will Ferrell. But he pulls out a cigarette case remote. That's the name of the gadget. I went through and I'm like typing in the gadgets to make sure. I want to make sure it's accurate and stuff for some. So he unlocks the door, goes into the meeting room with other SPECTRE agents are at. I was going to say one thing also. This has a lot of comparisons to the other non-Connery Eon Bond film in Never Say Never Again. And there's a question I had because there's a thing that happens between McClory and others, and there's a history about it, and it's really interesting. It's something to discuss for sure with this episode of this show. A man with a white cat tells number 2 to sit down, and we will discuss his NATO project later. The man with the white cat informs the SPECTRE agents of the death of SPECTRE agent number 6, Jacques Bouvois. They then give the financial reports. The man with the white cat suspects one of the SPECTRE agents of embezzlement and electrocutes the agent to death. That's a pretty interesting kill where he just embezzlement. Just
Yeah.
I like how I did the effect there. Number 2 gives his briefing of the NATO project. His plan is to demand a ransom from the North Atlantic Treaty Powers of $280 million and 180 pounds. He sends Spectre agent Count Lippy to the south of England, where he is making his preparations. He is at the health clinic near the NATO base. A man comes out with a towel and heads toward the shower. Pat introduces Bond to Count Lippy. Pat is the an actress that was dubbed in the movie. Paula was not dubbed in the movie, to my knowledge. So, yeah,
Brony, Step Brothers, like one of my favorite comedies of all time. So, agreed.
Okay, so it was this actress that was dubbed when we're introduced to Pat. She's like a nurse, I guess you could say a nurse. You could say a physician, a chiropractor, kind of like a all around, multiple tool kind of person in a sense.
Yeah, I think she was, because they were in it's almost like a spa, but
health clinic.
Yeah, so she's like an assistant massage therapist or something. I don't know, somewhere along that line.
Yeah. Pat introduces Bond to Count Lippy. Count Lippy says, "Nice to have met you, Mr. Bond," and walks away. Pat notices the scar Bond got from Jacques Louvoir. She makes note of it. A widow. A poker in the hands of a widow, he says. "Not this one. He didn't like me at all," Bond says to Pat. I like that line. It's funny. Definitely gotta see this one, Brony. I gotta introduce you to some of the Connery stuff because it's the ground level of 007. It's what started the franchise. Brony's only seen Living Daylights, by the way. I introduced him to that one for the 007 stuff. Bond phones to Moneypenny about the tattoo he noticed Count Lippy had. It's a red square with a spike through it. Bond thinks that the Tong sign, the red dragon from Macau, he wants records to verify it. File it till you get back. File it till you get back. Moneypenny says. Also, Bond is off duty at the health spa. That's what it is. It's, I think, because of what happened with the poker and stuff. I don't know. It doesn't really say why, It never explained why. It's just, he's at a health spa. If they could connect a little of the dots. But, I get it, and I understand it also why. You've had 3 movies with Bond before this, and, it's time for the guy to get a little R&R. A little bit, maybe. Bond hangs up the phone. Count Lippy and Pat get in a car and drive off. Bond uses a nail filer and goes in and unlocks Count Lippy's door. He opens a briefcase, sees a shadow on the outside of a door, hides behind a door. A man bandaged props the door on the other side, closes the door, and goes to answer the ringing phone. Bond gets out of the door to where Count Lippy's at, eats a grape that's in a basket, and leaves out that door. The bandaged man watches Bond go down down the hallway. Now here's where the danger starts for this movie, I think, where Bond and all the stuff that happens. Bond goes in a door, runs into Pat, who's an X-ray scan. Bond takes off the bathrobe, has his arms in the air, brings him down when Pat is checking him out, and Bond kisses Pat. Pat has Bond lay on the stretching table. When Bond is laying on the table, he asks Pat who the man next to Count Lippy's room is. His name is Mr. Angelo. He's there with a private physician recovering from a car crash. Pat says, "I'll see you in 15 minutes," and walks away. Count Lippy turns the stretching machine to danger level. We come back with Bond exhausted, winded, whatever you want to say there, because Oh, okay. When I see this stretching room, I get reminded of the scene from Never Say Never Again, the little fight that happens. I don't know if you've seen Never Say Never Again in a while, but there's a fight, and what Bond uses to kill the guy. It's like another agent of SPECTRE. In a sense, he's this brute, and Bond just throws a vial of pee at him and kills him with it. I'm like, I don't know why. When I see that scene, I get a weird comparison in my head to this. But I think that the outcome is better in here because Pat takes Bond off the machine, says it's a miracle. I came back when I did. She thinks that Bond pushed the switch accidentally. Hi, Mr. Tony of the Dead.
Tony.
Pat wants Bond to spend some time in the steam room to help relax him. Bond and Pat have sex in the Turkish bath.
Yeah. Can we talk about the manipulation? This is what Neko was getting. This is the manipulation part, because if he reports that she walked away and he almost died on that machine, like, she'll lose her job. And he's like, well, if we come in the steam room, we can work something out. She's like, oh, no. But he wins anyway. And she goes in and...
Okay.
Yep, exactly.
By the way, in case you all were wondering about the man with the eye patch, he's right here. And then,
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Appreciate that.
oh, is he talking about a new mic or something? Or
No, it's because last week when no one told me that my mic went out, it was over hers, and you guys were all quiet. He's the only one that said, hey, your mic's off. And I'm like, well, it can't be. And then I looked and it was. So he was looking out for me. No one else was.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Just obviously, if you hear differences, just let me know, like, so I can take a look and see what's going on.
Bond leaves the irrigation room, goes down the hallway into the sitz bath and heat treatment room. It's a weird name for it, but that's the name of it. I caught it. Bond sees Count Lippy in a steam bath, grabs a pole, turns the temp with the steam bath up, and slides the pole across the door of the steam bath, holding Count Lippy in place of him getting out. He's like, help, help, help! He screams. It's funny. Lippy bangs on the door to get out as we see get out as Bond walks away. Bond gives Pat a message. We see a car drive into place and Lippy telephones. It's like, who got him out? Okay. He's trapped in the steam room bath last we saw after Bond. And he's in there sitting. Nobody, it's like a little bit of logic would be nice. And that's the only gripe I'm saying. If you can do a movie like this that fills in the gaps in between, it would, any movie could use that logical sense, and it would make, if you do the logic, you make sense and you get it right, and it flows together like a puzzle piece in a sense, connects like a puzzle piece. But yeah, okay. We see a car drive into place and Lippy telephones. A woman answers the phone as Major Duvall's social secretary. The man on the other end wants to speak to Mr. Angelo. The woman puts down the phone on the receiver. Major Duvall answers the phone. His car is waiting for him. His car is here. The story of my life. I like that line. At the airbase, it'll give him time to cool off. His secretary hands him his coat. He opens the door and he runs into a Angelo that looks exactly like Derval, whose face has been surgically altered to look like Derval. I think this is fun and interesting for a Bond film. A doppelganger in a sense. Angelo has been surgically altered. He unleashes nerve gas, killing Derval. Lippy, who phoned to Derval's secretary, walks in with Angelo. Lippy, with a covered mouth, due to the gas, says, the ambulance and doctor are outside as arranged. Angelo is given breathing equipment for isolating him from the oxygen supply. Gamma gas, it's a type of thing Angelo used in 100,000 $5,000, which he says isn't enough. In quotes, to quote him, he says, "I changed my mind 2 years of my life studying the film. The reports, plastic operations, voice lessons make it $250,000 or no one else. Exactly. I am Durval." I like that line.
Yeah. I mean, look, obviously what they're trying to do is take a guy and he's going to clone or basically make himself into another person. And this person is actually the brother of Domino.
Mm-hmm.
And so she doesn't know exactly everything that he's involved with, but
she's going to learn.
Yeah, but he takes the surgery on. He looks like the other guy, but now he knows that he has a way to kind of blackmail or force Largo and company to pay him more money because they'd have to restart and redo everything to kind of get back to where they are. So they basically, and this is where Volpe, Fiona,
Volpe.
Yeah, she's like a big instrumental part. She's more of a right-hand person to Largo than anybody else. And as Jedi said earlier, she's like absolutely brutal. Like she is like a cold-hearted bitch in a sense. And
here in the
so,
bottom corner.
Yeah, so she's smart. She understands like the game, and so she'll tell what is his name, Angelo. She'll tell him like, okay, yeah, we'll pay you more money because we can't afford to go back now. We put too much into it. So clearly now Angelo is going to pilot the plane with some other guys over the waters of Bahamas. And, obviously he knocks them out or kills them with some other kind of gas while protecting himself. And then he lands the plane into the water, which then sinks. And so it's probably about 100 to 200 meters. It's not super deep. And it's clear water. So the plane sinks very nicely down into the water. And this is, of course, where Largo and his henchmen come out from underneath. Huh?
I said we'll learn that when we get to it in the story.
Yeah, well, I just got to speed up a little bit. So, they come out from the little ship there, which is the hydrofoil, the Volante. Or is that part of the Volante? Or is that another ship where they come out of?
That ship has the so it's this
because they're using two different ships. And I can't remember which.
So it's the same ship. It just jettisoned the back in the end where the Volante and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, they've got this underwater opening underneath where they can kind of like go out and scuba gear and submersibles and go and they go to fetch because the plane's carrying two like large bombs. That is what Largo wants, and
atomic bombs.
Yeah, so they go and they go to the plane, and of course Angelo, who's kind of breathing through a scuba gear that he had on board, is stuck. He can't get out. So obviously Largo, already pissed off about like him trying to extort more money out of him, cuts the tube, the breathing tube, which makes Angelo drowned. So obviously you don't want to ever cross Largo because he's a cold bitch. But so basically that's when they start removing the bombs, and then also they put camouflage netting over the plane on the bottom of the seat floor.
They wrap netting over the plane, hammer up nails to the ground. They get the bomb fuses and the bombs loaded aboard the Disco Volante. Largo maps his course off. Number 1 checks in on Largo's progress. Largo tells number 1 phase 2 completed. Number 1 says Lippy's choice of Angela might have jeopardized the mission. The project mission. Number 1 wants them to send a message to the execution branch to execute Count Lippy. Lippy sees Bond get into his car as Bond has to report to the office due to a flap at the office. I travel as a sort of troubleshooter, Bond tells Pat. As Bond is getting into the car, he notices Mr. Angelo carted out, and Pat tells him that it was Mr. Angelo who died due to a heart attack. Now, I think I had asked a question in here. Yeah, it's coming up about this. Or I don't know if you knew this, but Mr. Angelo and Derval were played by the same actor. At the time, that's unique and fresh and different for that. It's a little tidbit. I don't know if you knew that, but they played that both actors did the same character. I don't know how they did it, but it's, as Bond is about to get in the car, he notices Mr. Angelo being carted out. Bond tells Pat, keep in touch another time, another place. I think the health clinic is interesting. It's different. Okay. So there was controversy between the legal dispute between Thunderball, between Ian Fleming and Kevin McClory, who is a screenwriter on this film, and Jack Whittingham, who claimed Fleming wrote the novel off their screenplay. The legal battle began in 1961, resulting in McClory retaining movie and TV rights. He would go on to produce the non-Eon movie Never Say Never Again. I don't know if you knew that, but there's a little bit of the history. It's something to talk about for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know if you knew that or not, so that's why I added it as a question, just to get the movie flowing still. Bond drives off. Lippy is in pursuit in his car on the road. Lippy is firing at Bond in his car, his gun out the window. A woman on a modified BSA Lightning A65L, a forward-firing rocket, fires and blows up and kills Lippy. His car crashes in a fiery explosion. This is one, I really love the score of this film. The special effects for this movie I really like the special effects for this one. I sometimes listen every so often to the music. I don't know if you knew it, but this is one of the scores that in the wake up in the morning, play last music. This is the Bond stuff is a lot of the stuff that sometimes I'll go through and I'll listen to get ready in the mornings. The woman on the motorcycle drives the motorcycle to a lake or pond, dumps the motorcycle in the water, and takes the helmet off. And Bond shows up in MI6 HQ. Moneypenny says to Bond, "You are late." Yes, some people on the road really burn you up. I think that was a reference to the rocket launcher where Lippy gets killed in the car. Moneypenny tells Bond to go to the conference room. Something big. Every 00 agent in Europe is in the conference room. And Bond walks into the conference room. M says the Prime Minister has asked the Home Secretary to represent him there today. Gentlemen, the tape you are about to hear is from 10 Downing Street today. They played a tape. The tape is from Spectre number 1. It says, "My dear Prime Minister 2, atomic bombs number 456 and 457 were aboard NATO flight 759 are in the possession of Spectre. Unless in 7 days your government pays to us 100 million pounds sterling in a manner to be designated by us, we shall destroy a major city in England or a major city in the United States of America. Please signal your terms by arranging for Big Ben to strike 7 times at 6 p.m. tomorrow." The Home Secretary says the Prime Minister and the President have talked on the phone and have agreed that unless the bonds are recovered, payment will be made to avoid general panic. Complete secrecy will be maintained, and no one press announcements and tells M that the Prime Minister wants M's department to take charge of the assignment. I really like the conference room. Is where the conference room is at. I wish it was used in more Bond movies. I think you could use that with the next Bond. Maybe you can do a different. There's some stories that are like that are in that John Gardner and some other author, and they could be stories for movies as well because they have some interesting.
Well, that's one thing that sets this film out from a lot of the Bond films. Not that there's like a lot of bad ones or anything, but
yes, I agree, Jen. I agree for that. The score,
the story is like a really good one. I like the plot. It's a lot of fun again. The one thing too is, and maybe it's just me and how I perceive a lot of the other films, but aside from the Craigs that are a lot different now, but this is probably one of the few Connery films where he spends less time, being the womanizer type of guy. Even though you see it a little bit, it's not spent a lot of time on it. And I think part of that's because the bad girl, Fiona, isn't your atypical girl that's just gonna, even though she does get intimate with Bond, it's still like she has like this ulterior motive behind it. So she's not like totally enamored with Bond like most girls are. It's more like her being her, pleasing herself more than anything. But there's a lot of cool things about this film. The biggest thing is, of course, shit that I miss now is the sharks. I'm Dr. Evil. I miss the sharks. I wish we had more sharks in most Bond movies now, but we don't. A lot of good tiger sharks in here. You see the bull sharks in the pools. Just so much fun in those days when they were utilizing sharks a lot within the films. And the only bad thing is it does look like they were actually killing some of the tiger sharks with spear guns, which I'm totally against, but different era, so I get it. But yeah, I mean, the story itself is very strong. The villain's good. Even the idea, Spectre, of course, is big because it's been something that's been touched on through a lot of Bond films over the years. So certainly, go ahead.
Could you see Spectre in the next one, or do you want, if they do a new, would you look, how you have Spectre, do you think it would be interesting and unique and fresh for Bond if in the next generation, like this next one that comes out, that what if they have a brand new organization announced? Do you think it would make the Bond franchise more fresh? How do you freshen the Bond franchise? And is what I'm saying from, going from Spectre.
I'd probably have to go back and kind of read like where Spectre at is in terms of an organization now. Like I know it's been a factor in the Craig films, but I can't remember how it ended necessarily.
Oh, you can micros or whatever.
Blowfield, yeah.
Blowfield.
But sure, you could probably bring Spectre back and then maybe have someone new running it. Like, maybe they just take over and reinvent it. And so it can become like a bigger superpower than it was before.
Yeah, I totally agree with this comment that Jedi said. Yeah. This is really true about this film. This is one of my all-time scores. This is okay. So when we get back, it says Sir John speaks. The circle represents the flying range of the Vulcan extensive search. It has failed to locate any evidence of a crash or landing. Worldwide report proved negative on all airfields big enough to handle the Vulcan. The Home Secretary leaves the office. M states you can now open the folders in front of you. OHMSS on Her Majesty's Secret Service. I like the little tidbit, but eventually it's its own movie. Not to be opened until officially authorized. It states on the binding of the folder and Bond cut. And I like the name that I like how the movie is referenced on the folder also. That's a kind of unique touch. I don't know if you noticed that, but on the folder, it has the movie title listed. Yeah. Bond cuts the binding off the folder. M states, codename Thunderball. As you can see, we have little to go on. All the members of the crew had top security clearance. You'll be working with NATO, CIA, and all allied intelligence units until you discuss your assignments with me. I wish we got to see more of these agents often that were in the conference room. I think it would make some interesting.
That's one thing I would do differently. So it's easy to kind of, in this case, like when you have those agents in Spectre's a big room, they're kind of like just throwaway characters. If we were to go forward with the new Spectre, I would like to see unique characters that they can actually place into future Bond movies separately. So we can say, let's just make a joke and just say Kananga, from Live and Let Die, or Again, like Largo would be another one. So it'd be nice to kind of like specialize the different type of villains that would take place in a future Bond franchise. So let's just say, for shits and giggles, which would make Neko happy and me, if Idris Elba took over as Bond. Let's say he got like a 4-movie deal. Well, let's go ahead and bring Spectre back, and we'll focus on not just the person that's running it, but maybe for the subordinates underneath him, and they're all specific. So they have different things about them they can do. They're different way of being villains and so on, and have Idris as Bond face them in each of those movies, which would be very cool. I think that'd be awesome.
Okay. Back to once. In M's office, M states to Bond, I've assigned you to Station C, Canada, with Captain Pritchard as your liaison. Bond suggests going to Nassau. Any reason besides your interest in water sports? Bond hands M the photo of Derval. It sounds really awesome, Tony says. He would make a great Bond for sure, he says to you. I was sent you to Station C, Canada. Suggest going to NASA. Any reason behind your interest in water beside your interest in water sports? Bond hands him the photo of Derval that was in the dossier. Bond states he saw him last night at Shrublands, which is a health clinic, but he was found dead. Captain Pritchard states you've seen.
I do want to say this too, real quick. Didn't mean to cut you off, but the other thing that's been kind of missing from the Craig movies, even though it's still kind of there, is the special gadgets. I miss that a lot with the older films, because that thing that Bond uses in the water when he's going to meet the rest of the fight at the end, like that thing that like jets him through the water. That fucking thing is awesome. It's like a backpack that just kind of like pushes him through the water. I miss shit like that. We just don't get enough of that in these modern films.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was Googling on the internet. I'm like trying to find what is this thing that he has in his, like the bottle, like, he froze it into the thing. I'm just assuming it's a grenade. No answers. So that's something I would like to know. One thing, when you said for characters, I don't know if this is just a theory. What if they did like a side spin-off thing on Blofeld, like an origin, like, why he hates Bond so much would be an interesting idea. Even though in the Craig universe, it says they're stepbrothers or something. But when in the Connery and the Moore stuff, they're not even related. So it's like, what is the official truth? Are they related or not? That'd be an interesting theory just to pull it together.
No, that would be kind of cool too, would be to make a movie. Because even though they've already named one Spectre, but like to make a movie where, and they kind of dabbled this in Octopussy, which we'll get to eventually, but to dabble more with like a villain killing off double O's, like someone just makes their life work from Spectre to kill all as many double O's as they can until they get the Bond. And so like that'd be a cool movie. I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah. Bond states he saw him last night at Shrublands, which is a health clinic. He was found dead. Captain Pritchard states he was seen boarding the Vulcan last night, which took off. M says if 007 saw Derval last night and he saw he was dead, that's enough for M to initiate inquiries. M asks who the girl in the photo is. It's Derval's sister, Bond tells him. I really like the design of M's office during this era also. That's one thing that I noticed in the Craigs, the office changes, styles and stuff. And then the Moores, it's about the same as the Connerys. And then when you get to the Craigs, it's a little bit different. I don't know if you picked it up. Like when we do Living Daylights, I've seen Living Daylights 1,000 times or so, and I notice it as I go along. But I do notice the office changes of what I mean? Like how it changes design styles, how it looks in the interior, how it's real. I wonder if when they design the offices for like M, I wonder if they try and do the offices like that era, if that makes sense, to put him into that era. But it would be an interesting idea. Bond tells M she is in Nassau, and then M asks if she was work going after. 007 is 4 days as M states this. Bond leaves the office of M and the office outside of M's. Moneypenny sees the photo of the woman and asks, I don't suppose that he has anything to do with his request. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. And Moneypenny says, you may be able to fool the old man, but I know better. I could do so. I, Miss Moneypenny, as M opens the door and says, please don't refer to me as the old man. I like how M was the old man. It wasn't until, I believe, the Craig era where we actually got a name for M. So instead of M. So it's weird. But I mean, I guess it goes with the times. As Bond is about to leave the office, Moneypenny asks, how will you recognize her? Bond says, she has 2 moles on the left thigh. I have never even noticed this detail on this character, so I don't know if it's a picture or if it's just,
No, I think it's just, I don't think we actually ever see that. It's just something that, in order for him to acknowledge that he knows how to recognize her, that's just something he said. Plus, it's also a reference to him knowing her body. That's how he knows.
Uh-huh.
The womanizer aspect.
Bond leaves the office. We get it in the ocean. We meet a woman is scuba diving. Bond runs into her underwater. The woman gets caught when grabbing a starfish, and Bond helps her foot get uncaught. I really love the ocean scenery. Do you think it paints a cool picture in some person's head that has never seen this movie? Asking you that question.
What is it?
I said, I really love the ocean scenery. Do you think it paints a cool picture in some person's head that has never seen this movie?
I mean, I guess in terms of Bond, yeah. I mean,
that's what I mean. In terms of Bond, do you think it paints a...
Sure, yeah. I mean, that's one thing that we always like, especially with a lot of Connery's films. He's generally washing up on a beach somewhere. It seems to be one thing they did a lot with Connery back then. But yeah, I mean, the Bahamas is a great location to shoot, and again, clear water, very cool. Again, I'm big on the sharks and stuff, so those always appearing is nice. Yeah, I mean, there's no problem with the location of the water and stuff. It looks great.
Bond and a woman swim to her boat where he introduces himself as James Bond. Like, what I mean is, the name is Bond, James Bond. That's not in this movie. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think this is one of the, can we get some pictures? I'm sorry, I didn't get pictures for this movie. That's one thing. I'm like, okay. I forgot. Tony's asking for pictures. That's why.
Just future reference.
Yeah, I'll be sure to try and get some for Octopussy because there's a lot of cool characters in that one. I arrived, and then she says to Bond, I arrived after you went down. I've been admiring your form. The woman responds, your name's James Bond, and you've been admiring my form. I'll make sure to get some next week, Tony, for next Sunday for Octopussy, Tony. Most girls paddle around you, swim like a man. Do you come here often? Bond asks the woman. Practically every day, she responds. What else do you do and where? You don't waste time, do you? She responds to Bond with that response. Thank you for efforts, so you'll know me next time. I'm not with you, but you soon will be, Bond says. Bond swims to his boat where Paula is waiting for him and tells Paula to make contact with London since he made contact with the girl. By the way, Paula's actress is in From Russia with Love also in the gypsy fight. She is one of the girls in the gypsy fight, if you didn't know that. The boat doesn't start, and Bond asks the woman he met in the water for help and asking for a lift to Coral Harbor. He's got an important appointment there and would appreciate a lift. The woman says, come aboard. A man watches Bond on the beach with binoculars swim to the woman's boat. The boat takes Bond and the woman to the beach. Bond talks to the woman, asks if we could get lunch by the pool. How about your appointment? The man with the binoculars gets up and follows him. Another man smoking a cigarette watches him. Bond asks the woman how long she has been out here. She says about 3 weeks. You have been reading some of the wrong books about being an aphrodisiac. It just so happens Bond likes conch chowder, he tells the woman. The woman sees the man that was watching with the binoculars, and Bond asks, a friend of yours? The man that was watching with the binoculars works for her guardian, the woman responds. Her guardian likes to know where she is. She gets up to leave the Disco Volante, pulls into the harbor. Her guardian will be expecting me. Will I see you again? It's a small island. Perhaps we can have dinner together. No, my dear, uncooperative Domino. I like her name. It's a cool, unique, fresh, Bond girl-ish name.
Yeah.
Domino is a woman's name, she asks. How do you know that? How do you know my friends call me Domino? It's on the bracelet on your ankle. What sharp little eyes you got, she says. That night, Bond goes to a casino on the beach. I really like the scenery of Nassau. I think it's a really pretty scenery for the film. Bond asks for 500 pounds to gamble with. We see Largo and Domino sitting next to each other at a table. 200. Bond goes to the table, says, huh? Okay. I just noticed that, what you said that.
Good.
You want me to
Good.
skip the casino stuff?
Yeah, just explain generally like what ends up happening, because we have obviously the cat and mouse between Largo and Bond, and then as well as like because they find like that hidden hideaway where he stashes, or he wants to stash the bombs at and stuff like that. So
Let's skip to that.
yeah, just get into there, and then we'll get into where Bond gets saved, and then of course, the fight. Yeah.
Okay. Should I explain the gadgets from Q?
Sure.
Or should I
See you later, Jedi. Have a good night, buddy.
Say to skip the casino, jump in?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the casino, because I mean we don't want to give away every single thing. Let people see this for themselves. But
do you think we should open it? Should continue where Felix, because Felix is introduced in this movie as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, I'm just. The next day, Bond gets to his room key of his hotel, goes upstairs, walks past room 304, takes out of his shirt pocket room key 306. See, I've never noticed if it explained that that's Paula's room or his room, so it's never explained in the movie. So that's a logic gap there. He opens that door. Paula goes into the other door on the other side, puts the key in the bowl, opens a book, which is a tape recorder book, plays the tape in reverse, and then plays it forward, and here's an intruder open the room door of the bathroom. Bond sets the book down on the table, twists his silencer onto his gun, kicks the door of the bathroom open. I really like the spy aspect of how the film is building and how characters are introduced as building blocks. Do you like that approach?
Yeah, of course. That's one thing about a lot of these older films is that they did a good job of doing that. Good
night, Tony.
Yep. See you later, brother. Have a good night.
Felix knocks on 304 and Bond goes to answer the door. He punches Felix in the chest as he was about to blow his cover. Bond goes back into the bathroom, turns the bath water on hot, hits the man at the door, punches him as he's about to get up, and Bond takes his gun as his arm is hanging out on the floor. Felix comes into the bathroom door and 007 hands Felix a gun to head in the bathtub. Bond picks the man up out of the bathtub, tells him, have you seen everything you need to see? Tell them the little fish are threw back into the sea. I really enjoy the quips that Connery provides as Bond. Felix takes the round of the gun and hands it back to the goon that was in the bathtub. Bond tells Felix there's a man working for a Mr. Largo. There's a yacht we should look at later. The man that was in the bathtub drives to Largo's place. The guards phone ahead, and one of Quist's goons answers the phone. Quist, who was a goon in the bathtub, walks into where Largo is, and Largo hits Quist with a towel. Largo kisses his shark ring as Quist is thrown into the pool of sharks as the sharks devour Quist. Quist was the man in the bathtub. Paul and Bond. I think that's a cool kill, the shark kill.
Oh, yeah.
I would believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's the first appearance of sharks in the Bond films. So
could be. It's I wish I had a pool.
Love did not. Goldfinger did not. Dr. No for sure did not.
That's another thing where Austin Powers took something like the sharks with lasers on their heads and shit, so easily influenced on that.
Paul and Bond and Felix are at a stand, and Bond introduces Felix to Pender, their man. Bond asks who the girl is. Paul, a Kaplan, an assistant, and they follow Pender to his place. I really love the gadgets now. Q is on location. It makes for some interesting scenes. Question mark. That was a question. In Pender's place, we are introduced to Q, who's on location where Bond is. Q says, "Here we have a Geiger counter. The sweep hands counts radioactivity. It's waterproof, but of course, Bond flicks the switch on a scuba tank like a kid, you know, playing. Mm-hmm. He's like more in a sense, the playfulness, definitely.
Yeah.
Next, Q says it's an underwater camera. It takes 8 pictures in rapid succession. Is that clever? Bond asks. If you can take pics in the dark, then yes. Bond turns the switch on the scuba gear, and the fan runs, and Q flips the switch. Then Bond is introduced to a miniature pistol which fires a red flare as a distress signal that Q says you should keep on you day and night. Q also gives Bond a rebreather for short periods, only for 4 minutes tops. It closes to a pocket size. Lastly, Q gives Bond a harmless radioactive homing pill which emits a signal when detected by a certain receiver. Bond and Felix use a catamaran to meet up later. I really think this is a great introduction for somebody who has never been introduced to Spectre via this movie. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Number 1 explains where the rendezvous point will be at unless the bombs are not recovered. They fear we will have to pay Spectre's price. And reports we have a signal from NASA. Pender walks in and reports the Disco Volante is in the harbor, and they have their cover in the catamaran. Bond in scuba gear goes into the water as he is investigating the Disco Volante. One of Largo's divers aims a harpoon at Bond and misses him. The alarm goes off on the Disco Volante. Bond and the crewman battle it out underwater, and the crew of the Disco Volante see Bond and the Frogman battling underwater via their closed-circuit TV cameras. Bond drops his knife, takes off the goon's mask, uses the goon's knife, and kills the goon by cutting his air hose. As Largo is preparing hand grenades, Bond takes pics of the underwater hatch as grenades start going off around him. Bond escapes, makes it to the shore with a rebreather and flippers. And this is where we're introduced the second time to Volpe. Bond takes off his jacket, leaves it on the ground, stops the oncoming car. Bond asks for a lift, and the woman driving the car takes Bond to the hotel rapidly in her car. On the way to the hotel, Bond introduces himself, and we are introduced to a woman who killed Count Lippi as Fiona Volpe. Bond notices a Spectre ring on Volpe's finger, and she takes it off. Like you said, she is a baddie for sure. She's a different kind of baddie. Evil darkness. They arrive at the hotel back at the Penders. They examine the photos Bond took and they discovered an underwater hatch. Bond says the whole operation was carried out underwater, and that's where they have to look for the plane. Felix and Bond in a Bell 47J Ranger try to find the plane, but to no success. Later at Largo's place, Largo and Volpe are shooting targets. Largo says there's an enemy Spectre ship killed. If Bond had died, his government would have known for certain the bombs are here. Volpe tells Largo. She tells Largo, I will kill Bond. Bond arrives at Largo's place to eat dinner, sees Domino swimming in the pool, helps her out, and Largo greets Bond with a gun in his hand. Bond takes the gun, notices it looks more fitting for a woman, and Largo asks him if he knows more about guns. He knows more about women, he says. Largo introduces Bond to Vargas and Yanni, 2 of his goons. Bond met Vargas the other night at the casino. Largo offers Bond a rum Collins as Bond checks his Geiger counter watch and offers Vargas a drink and a cigarette. He doesn't do that stuff. Largo's passion is fishing. He asks what Bond's is. He's not a passionate man, Bond tells him. Domino goes to change, and Bond wants a tour of the place. Bond gets target practice of Largo. They then see Largo's pool full of sharks. Bond asks Largo how many knots the Disco Volante will do. She'll do about 15 knots, Largo says. Near 20 knots. Lunch is ready. They go to eat at Largo's. Largo wants Bond to take Domino to the junk canoe. It's where their Mardi Gras celebration. Volpe walks into the hotel room where Paula is. There's a knock on the door, on the other door next door, and Paula is kidnapped as goons open the door and capture her. Volpe finds the photos. Bond and Domino are at the Bond and Domino are at the junk canoe when Felix flags Bond down. Bond comes down the stairs, tells him Paula checked out of the hotel. Bond as Felix watch after Domino as Paula goes to find out what happened to Paula. Bond goes to Pinder's, and Pinder pulls the power over the island. Bond sneaks into Palmyra and takes out a goon. Largo and a goon are talking when there's a power failure over the island. They switch over to the emergency generator. Bond discovers Paula committed suicide by cyanide capsule, and an alarm goes off. Bond leaves the cellar where Paula had died from. Largo as his guards split in different directions. Bond starts firing at the guards. They start firing at each other. Bond climbs onto the roof, loses his gun. It fires. Bond and a guard tangle, and they both go into the shark pool. Largo opens the tunnel hatch, and Bond kills the guard in the pool with a knife. Bond tries to get out of the sealed pool, but the sharks come out from the other pool into the sealed pool, and Bond escapes through the breather. Funny enough, right there in that scene in the film, Connery actually did his own shark stunts for that scene. Something you wouldn't know until you have to look it up. Pinder drops Bond at the hotel. Bond enters the hotel room, sees Volpe in the bathtub, hands her shoes to her. Later, she and Bond lay down later. Bond plans to go to the junk canoe with Volpe when Bond opens the door. Guards are standing in the doorway. Bond is Volpe at gunpoint, and the guards enter and search. Bond and they go to the festival in the car on the way to Largo's place. Volpe lights a cigarette. A bystander has an alcohol bottle in his hand in the car, and Bond kicks it and pushes Volpe forward. One of the guards catches on fire, and Bond gets shot by the guard on the foot. Volpe and goons are in pursuit of Bond. Bond hides in a parade float and then hides behind one. Volpe escapes to the Kiss Club. In the bathroom, he wraps the blood wound of his handkerchief in his pocket and ties it around his foot. Funny enough, the Kiss Club would be later referenced in Everything or Nothing on the this was during the Brosnan era.
Yeah.
Bond limps to the bar, sees the goons after him, takes a girl's hand, dances with her, and Volpe appears, and Bond and her dance. While dancing, a guard pulls a gun out from a curtain and shoots Volpe, killing her, narrowly missing Bond, hitting him between his fingers. Bond puts Volpe in a chair and leaves. NATO explains their plan and what they plan to do, and the British government is 14 hours and 15 minutes before it is time to pay up to SPECTRE. Bond and Felix discover the plane, and they discovered a golden grotto full of sharks with the plane in the water as well. They land a helicopter. Felix shoots sharks to keep them at bay, uncovers the wreckage of the plane. Bond goes into the plane, recovers his dog tag and watch, and escapes through the netting by cutting, narrowly becoming shark food. Bond plans to ask Domino about the bombs. Underwater, we see Domino and Bond underwater, and they meet up on the surface on the beach. Bond explains what happened. He shows her the watch and the dog tags. He explains Largo killed her brother, Vargas. He explained Largo killed her brother. Vargas watches from a distance. She tells Bond, Vargas is behind you, and one of the coolest kills in the film, Bond kills Vargas with a spear gun. I like that. He got the point, is the line he says. Domino wants Bond to promise that he will kill Largo for her. There's a small bridge over the canal. Largo never allows strangers. There they lead to the sea on the far side of Palmyra. I really like the aquatics in this film. Bond comes up out of the stairs, goes down a flight of stairs, takes a homing pill, and takes scuba gear. Domino arrives back aboard the Disco Volante. Largo and his guards arrive. Bond takes out one of the divers and takes his place. They jump in the water. They go back into the underwater hatch of the Disco Volante. Bond checks his Geiger counter, and the Disco Volante takes off. Largo's men in the underwater bomb sledge take off. That's the vehicle that they use. That's why I put it there. Largo's men in the underwater bomb sledge take off. Largo lights a fuse and opens a hatch. In the doorway is where the missiles are. Largo loads the bombs onto the underwater bomb sled. Largo spots Bond, sends his men after him, and his men take off with the bombs. Bond and one of his men fight, and Bond kills him. Bond gets trapped behind the doors as they are shut and picks up a harpoon gun. Domino picks up the camera, opens her door, goes down the hallway. Largo comes down the stairs, grabs the camera. As he's grabbing it, the Geiger counter on the camera goes off when it falls to the floor. Largo shuts the door behind Domino in her room. Bond swims ashore into a cave. Largo starts to punish Domino when the man walks in. Felix enters in a Skorsky HHS2 552A Seaguard rescue Bond from the cave. Bond tells Felix to get your radio man to Orlando Beach. The target is Miami. The bomb is transferred from the Disco Volante onto a wreck off Valley Point. Largo and his men take the bombs. Did I mention that I really like the score for this film? I was asking you a question there. I don't know if I did or not. If I mentioned that I like the score for this movie.
Yeah, you talked about the score, okay. John Barry. Yeah.
I really like the scene where the troopers are parachuting out of the plane. That's a cool scene. Mm-hmm. In my opinion, one of the best songs starts playing in the film, which I love. It's called Underwater Mayhem - Death of Largo in titles, in case anybody wants to listen to it. It's the one where the Marines and then Bond and then do 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 do. That one starts playing. That's a really wonderful Barry song. I like that a lot. The Marines go on the attack towards Largo and his men, and one of the best undersea battles starts. The Marines kill one of Largo's men, another one, and Largo's men kill one of the Marines. It's a really awesome battle. Bond joins the fray with a bulkier scuba tank that makes him faster in the water, but is also armed with a missile launcher. Bond speeds by fast as the battle continues. Bond cuts the cords on two of Largo's men, fires a missile at one, fires a missile at a rope that is holding a door, and the door seals collapses on the goon. Bond goes into an underwater compartment and screws a grenade that's in a bottle or something like that. A diver sees the bubbles and investigates while Bond escapes out the side hatch. Bond drops a grenade in the goons. As one blows up, Bond swims and punches and kicks the goon to death. Bond and the goon get into a barrel roll as the goon dies by Bond. Largo kills a diver with a knife as a shark swims by a Marine, shoots a shark with a harpoon gun. It bounces off. The Marines win, and Largo's men surrender in the undersea battle. Bond picks up a harpoon gun, shoots one of Largo's goons. Largo and Bond fight, and Largo knocks Bond's mask to the ground. Bond picks up a mask from a dead soldier. One of Largo's goons surrenders, and Bond escapes. And Bond goes after Largo, who escaped. Bond gets on a hydrofoil on Largo's boat. As he says to weigh anchor, Marines and the Navy fire at Largo now. The Disco Volante jettison the rear portion of the boat. That's what it's just a rear portion of the boat is what it was. The Coast Guard destroys the rear portion of the boat. Largo takes the wheel. The nuclear physicist helps Domino as Bond climbs aboard the ship. Bond fights Largo's men, and Largo's about to win and kill Bond. When Domino shoots and kills Largo in the back, he jams the boat controls. Bond and Domino and the nuclear physicist escape as the Disco Volante blows up. Bond and Domino get into the lifeboat. Bond straps a rope around his neck and hugs Domino in his arms as they go flying in the air. I am done with the plot because I just ended it right there. I try not to spoil everything.
No, it's good. No, you just really got to concentrate on just the main topics. But yeah, I mean, it's a good, really good film.
Well, see, I did it better this time since you said, hey, what you need to do is ask questions. Did I ask questions? Yeah. Did I? I'm trying to get better at it slowly. We all are, like you said before.
Yeah, definitely. So overall thoughts and ratings, right? For me, like I said, this is probably one of the better Bond films of the era, especially with the Connery era. Has everything I'm looking for. Great plot, great dialogue. Again, sharks. You're gonna win me over with sharks. Just do sharks. You'll win me with the sharks. Yeah, the plot's just really cool. I enjoy the plot a lot. Even like the thing with Domino and Angelo being brother and sister, and how later on she realizes that he's gone, which is actually very smart of Bond when he finds the body in the plane, because he takes the dog tags as well as his watch to prove that Angelo was gone. So that's another great thing about that. Again, SPECTRE is a very cool thing, great organization. It's fun to have that organization as the villainous thing that's organized against M16 or MI6 and of course the bonds and stuff like that. So as far as rating, I don't recall exactly where it is on my list right now. Obviously, towards the end of November or early December, we'll be doing the thing with Jedi, giving our rankings of the Bond films. But as far as a rating out of 10, it's probably like a 8.5 or 9 for me out of 10.
Okay. I had a question on here for you also. So I asked this. So it's just something for Bond related. Is that I was going to ask, what was your favorite gadget, kill, or song that they used in this movie?
Song wise, I couldn't tell you because I don't know too much about the soundtrack other than that John Barry done it.
What I was saying with that?
The kill is obviously Vargas with the spear gun. That's such a good move. And of course, what was the first one? Gadget. Oh, it's like that super pack that he has on in the water. So like once he jumps in and able to get into the rest of the fight, he has to get over there very fast, and it's like just flies into the water. So I really enjoy that gadget a lot.
My rating is, I'm gonna shock you and say I think this is a little bit better than Goldfinger, which is another 10 out. I'll go even better, higher, and say this is 11 out of 10.
11. You got to turn it up to 11. That's high praise. That means you're making it higher than most films. So wait a minute. What did you give Majesty's Secret Service, though? Did you just give it a 10?
Mm-hmm.
So you're giving this one 11?
Well, sorry. I'll just keep it at 10 just so it's around that range.
That's what I'm saying. Like you're giving it really high praise. You're going above and beyond with that one.
My brain's like, but
that's fine. If it's another 10 out of 10, that's good. Yeah.
What I said about it, why I said I gave it a 10 out of 10. I said I really enjoyed this movie. The score, the Bond girl is a hottie. It reminds me of Ursula Andress from the OG Bond girl. As the OG Bond girl. The introduction of Spectre is a nice addition to the franchise. I think Largo and Volpe are some pretty good villain choices. I highly recommend this for any fan like Brony, who is a noob. Sorry to say the word, but he kind of is after seeing just one film. I highly recommend for any fan wanting to get into the 007 universe. I highly recommend this as a starting point, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But it is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Good enough. Good enough.
You want to start upcoming content?
Yeah, so, excuse me. This week, I think on Monday, I'm going to start playing Dead Reset. It's a game that came out recently, which has some vocal narration by actress Lindsay Crane, who I interviewed not too long ago, who I really love. She's an amazing actress. How to Kill Monsters as well as Eating Miss Campbell. So if you haven't seen that interview, please go check it out. But I'm going to start playing the game that she's involved with.
What is it, single player?
Huh?
Single player?
I think so. I haven't even dived into it yet, but I think it is single player. Wednesday for Ghouls of Midnight, my pick on that is going to be Hell House Lineage, the 2025 sequel to some of the other sequels. So I'm really excited to watch that. That's on Shudder right now. And Tony gave me his, but I forget the name already. But he's already got his pick, so we'll have those coming about and ready to go soon. Thursday, my Kaiju Spotlights come back, and going to be doing my first one with Geek for Destroya. We're going to be doing that together and knocking that out. And then hopefully in a couple weeks, I've been talking with Nick from the Monster Report, and we're going to be doing Godzilla 2000. So that's going to be fun to do that with him there. But I'll fill out some more as I go along. I want to try to get another Vintage Cult Cinema out, as well as some other stuff. So, but that's currently what I have in the works.
I am really looking forward to your thing on Thursday with Geek. I know Geek is really knowledgeable with the Kamen Riders, so I'm assuming, I know he's real knowledgeable with the Godzilla stuff as well, because, we do the show. That'll be a good segue into my stuff, but we've got upcoming stuff. I need to get back into streaming Spider-Man, because that's been a blast to do. But we have Gears of War Reloaded eventually. I don't know when that will resume, because Goji's just got a busy schedule now in life and everything. The Tokusatsu, I had to scrap one show, so that'll be something else is replacing it, or trailer reaction, something else like that might be replacing it, or something different. I just went through the other last week and picked out a theme for the trailer reaction, so that'll be on there. I gotta make the intro still, but I've got ideas for what clips to start it with and go from there.
Cool.
I'm also working on the Savants project for the James Bond opening and outro and all that stuff, because like Anubis has said just a minute earlier, we are going to be going through and ranking the Savants, the 007 movies. So definitely be sure to look forward to that. In fact, next Sunday will be the next episode of Savants, because Neko's birthday is on Saturday. Yay! Happy early birthday, Neko!
She went to bed, so she's not here right now. But yeah, getting late. That's why.
But next week on Sunday, November 9th, we will be talking about Octopussy. Another, and Anubis, I'm sure, will have his thumbnail done for it whenever he gets around to it. So,
yeah, we're going to continue with the Bond stuff. Going to have a lot of fun with that. Obviously, we weren't able to get to everything this year Bond-wise, but for the most part, we got to the ones that we wanted to revisit, and then we'll rank them with Jedi. That's going to be a fun show, which we'll probably have to make that like a separate show during the week that we normally do, just because, we don't want to skip out on another review of a film. So Olvin and I will get together and figure out another day where we can go with Jedi and do that ranking separately, but that should be fun.
I think he has stated the 29th as the date. That's what he has said. He is off. That's the week of Thanksgiving, weekend of Thanksgiving.
All right, let me see. Okay. So what we do, just do it earlier to get the rankings out of the way, because that's going to be probably like an hour or two show just to talk about the films and rank them. So
unless what we could do is do it on a different day. I mean, I'm available any day.
Well, no, what we could do, we can do the rankings on that Saturday, and you and I can do our next review on the Sunday following, the 30th.
The day after?
Because we're kind of doing that already a lot this month, so as long as you're okay with that.
Would that be my pick?
I don't know. I have to look. What is let me see. So next week is mine, which then you is again, because it's kind of flowing around. So
on the 15th, it would be my pick, I believe.
Right. The
week after, we're not doing.
You're the 15th. I'm the 22nd, but that's on the 23rd because your birthday's on the 22nd, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then yours would be on the 29th. But if we're going to do, so 29th would be your pick, but we're doing Jedi, the rankings on that day. And then the 30th would be your pick for the 29th. So, yeah.
I've got two options right now. I don't know if you want me to tease them, but I put one down today on paper.
No, just hold on to it. We got a month.
It's a horror
Write it down.
that I put as an idea, and it's a theming of the next season. You know what I mean in December. So
right. Okay.
One, it would be a blind pick for me for sure because it's a movie I have never seen before. So
cool. It's always good.
Also, we have the Andrika Kiter. We will be doing episodes 1 through 4 in the future. I gotta get that stuff set to stone. Intro, outro, all that. Outro for the new for one show, then the intro for the other. And then I think that's everything for me. But I'm trying to think because we have the unboxing comics with Killer Croc as well. Me and Gojira 851. Whenever his schedule is available and mine, we can get together, do that. But this has been the Silver Screen Savants, episode 22. This is back to the numerical numbering system of the original show. So the numbers are going to fly by.
Yeah.
But like this, gosh, now I want to say, my brain wanted to think of octopuses. We have an all-time high, but we'll see you next Sunday. You might see me during the week doing some Spider-Man content. I want to get back to doing that game. Get that series done, get back into Assassin's Creed 2, which I started way back earlier this year. I never finished because of stuff going on in life. So now I've got a lot more time to get back into that stuff. So it's like, dang.
Cool deal.
But this has been Silver Screen Savants, episode 22. We'll see you on episode 23 on a special Sunday night for Savants. Bye!